Hey 7th graders, if you are watching this, you are my blue group. Okay, so your learning target for today is I can explain how different alleles for a trait produce different proteins. So if we're looking at an organism's genotype, we can look at it and say, hey, this one's going to produce the same or different proteins based on those alleles that it got from its parents. Okay, so for your guys' today, obviously you're watching this video. Okay, today you are going to complete only slides 3 through 8 and slide 21. So 21 is just kind of your self-assessment for today. So if you guys don't already know that you're a blue group, make sure you guys click right here. You guys right click open link and it'll pull you into Amplify, and right there you guys will see what color group you are. So you may have to log in, that's totally normal. And when it pulls up, the first thing you guys should see on your computer is your color group. So again, your guys' should be blue. Okay, it's loading. I'll take a second. I'll show you guys here in a second. So you guys will be blue, and again, you're completing slides 3 through 8. So if we look over on the left, it's going to be pretty obvious for you guys. Yours are all blue, okay? And then your final slide is just your wrap-up slide. That's slide 21, okay? So you guys should see right here your blue group. All right. Anyway, moving on, let's start on slide 3. So first activity is just your warm-up for today. So you guys have these two diagrams. So I want you guys to read through them. We have this chromosome here and this chromosome here, and we're looking at two different genes. So on this gene, we have the C1 allele or the C1 version. This gene version or allele instructs the cells to make proteins with this shape, so it's kind of that weird check mark looking shape. And on our other chromosome, we probably got one from mom, one from dad. On our other chromosome, we have this C2 gene or the C2 allele, and then this different gene version instructs the cell to make this protein, which we can tell has a different shape than this C1 protein. So a gene is an instruction for making a specific kind of protein molecule. Different versions of genes instruct cells to create different protein molecules. This one, we have two organisms, A and B, and of course we have two copies of each chromosome, one from mom, one from dad. So we can see organism A has C1 from mom, C1 from dad, and they're homozygous. Remember, homo means the same, so that means that we got the same copy of that gene or that allele from both parents. So both copies of the gene are the same, therefore only one kind of protein molecule is produced in those cells. So we're only going to see that kind of protein in the cell. Versus this organism B got two different ones from mom and dad, a C1 and a C2. So one mom passed down one and dad passed down the other. This is heterozygous, meaning a mix. So it doesn't just have the same, it means it has multiple different types. So heterozygous genes, each copy of the gene is different. Therefore, two different kinds of proteins are produced. So we can see making this one protein here like we saw with C1 and also this second type of protein. So every organism has two copies of each gene. If the copies are the same, then the genes are homozygous. If the copies are different, then the genes are heterozygous. So what you guys will do is underneath each of these diagrams, you guys have two little caption boxes. So you're going to add a caption under each of those pictures that kind of just tell me what the diagram shows. Maybe you guys are just summarizing it. Maybe you guys are kind of telling me what you learned from those diagrams, or what maybe you would teach someone else about these diagrams. So I want you guys to write a sentence or two in each of those caption boxes explaining each of those diagrams. Okay, your guys' key color for today is pink. So you're looking for the pink question mark and the pink font for anywhere you guys need to answer questions or participate in some activity. Okay, your next slide, use the diagrams from the last page to answer the question. So again, refer back to these two diagrams if you need to. How do these diagrams explain why two organisms can have different proteins for a feature? So basically, what did you learn about those two diagrams that explain why organisms can make different proteins for the same feature? All right, moving on to activity 2, blue group. You guys are going to be working in the simulation. So I'm going to go ahead and get this loaded up. I'm going to right click and open my simulation. Again, if you're not already signed in, you'll have to do so. Launch the sim to investigate Greg's traits, proteins, and genes. Select Greg, choose stripe color, and examine Greg's trait, proteins, and genes for this feature. Record your observations in the table below. So I opened up my trait, or my table. Here is Gregory. Okay, looks like Gregory has the genotype F1F1, so he must have got an F1 from mom and an F2 from dad for whatever trait we're looking at. In this case, does it tell us stripe color? So we need to change him to stripe color. That's different. Okay, so we got T1, T1, and we're looking right here at possible proteins for stripe color. There's 3 different proteins, but it looks like Greg is only producing this little hexagon-shaped protein. Okay, so he's T1, T1, again, got a T1 for mom, a T2 for dad, and that is causing him to have this red body color, or this red abdomen color. Okay, record your observations in the table below. So there's nothing to answer on this page. You don't see that pink question mark. So let's move on to the next page where we do see the pink question mark. Okay, here's the stripe color phenotype. So what physical appearance did Greg have for stripe color? So if we look back, there's a couple different options there. The spiders could either be red, black, purple, blue. So those are our only options, and Greg is what phenotype? Okay, then it says, what's his genotype? Remember, that's your combination of genes or alleles. So here is Greg's genotype. Remember, there's always 2 parts to a genotype, what mom passes down and what dad passes down. Okay, and then proteins. Which proteins did Greg produce? So you guys can use this key right here to tell me whether he has 1, 2, or 3, or a mixture of those. Okay, add the proteins shown in the left column below. So for the first one, you guys are going to add protein 2, and then you'll reset it. And for the second one, you'll add protein 3, and you'll reset it. What you're going to tell me then is, was there a change in Greg's stripe color phenotype or his physical appearance? And then did his genotype change? So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So I can go ahead down here and click and drag a protein. So he has protein 1. Let's add protein 2 and see what happens. So remember, you guys have to click it to that circle. And then once this little blue timer is up, then you guys will see a picture of Greg over here and see how Greg may change his phenotype and his genotype. So obviously you see a change. So what is his new phenotype? And what is his new genotype? Okay, so does he have a different genotype now? All right, so answer your questions here. And now do the same thing, reset it. Okay, you guys might, let's see here, where do we go to reset? Oh, it goes back to red after a little bit, so you guys can just go ahead, add a stripe 3 to that protein 3 to that circle. I'm not gonna let you guys see what happens. I'm gonna leave you in suspense. So if we add protein 3, what's that gonna do to Greg's phenotype? And did his genotype change, yes or no? Okay. Some questions for you guys to answer. Once you added the proteins, what happened after a period of time lapse? So when you added protein 2 or protein 3, you waited for that little blue circle timer to count down, and then what happened after that? Okay, working in the sim, change Greg's genes. So this time you're gonna go into Greg, and you're gonna mess with his little alleles up here by changing his genes. Okay? So once you change Greg's genes, can you guys change them to make his color go to purple? So mess around with those until Greg is showing a purple phenotype. What genotype results in this? So what did you end up changing to get it to purple? Okay. Same thing for black on question 3, working in the sim. This time change Greg's genes so that his stripe color is black. What genotype results in the black stripe color? Finally, question 4 and 5, what difference did you notice in the sim when you added proteins? So the last time you guys added either protein 2 or 3, compared to where you guys are changing the gene versions in questions 2 or 3. Okay, so what differences did you guys notice? Think about that last table and mainly this question that you had to ask yourself. In question 5, people with hemophilia. So you guys read an article about hemophilia a couple lessons ago. That's where you guys aren't able to clot your blood. So people with hemophilia need to have clotting factor proteins injected into their cells throughout their lifetime. So they have to have constant shots, making sure they have enough of that protein in their body that their body doesn't naturally make due to genetics. So they don't bleed to death if they get a bruise or a small cut or a large injury, whatever the case may be. So based on what you observed, when you added proteins to change Greg's stripe color, why do you think people with hemophilia constantly need to receive injections of the protein? So again, think of Greg when you guys added either protein 2 or protein 3 to his cell. Did it change his genotype? Okay, so why would someone with hemophilia always have to have those injections? Okay, could they just add that protein injection once and have it change for the rest of their life, or do they have to keep constantly doing it, and why do you think that is? All right, final activity for you guys, Blue Group, is your reading. So I want you guys to read this little blurb on genes and proteins in hemophilia and then answer this question. If genetic researchers found a way to change a person's genes, would they be able to cure hemophilia? Why or why not? So where you see the pink answer, go ahead and tell me, yeah, I think they'd be able to cure hemophilia, or no, and then explain why. Use what you guys learned with messing around with Greg. You guys changed Greg's proteins and you guys changed Greg's genes. So if we changed a person with hemophilia's genes, could we cure them of hemophilia and they never have to have those injections again? All right, finally, scroll down to slide 21. Okay, any questions? Yes, you guys do need to do this page. Okay, it takes about 5 seconds. So use the draw feature. If you have questions, yes or no. If you guys have questions, type them, but obviously if it's something that's preventing you from completing this assignment, send me a message in Teams so I know, and then circle 4, 3, 2, or 1. How do you think you did on this assignment? Once you guys are done with that, you are now done and you may turn in this assignment. I hope you all are having a great day and I will talk to you soon. Bye.